Hey, a Range Rambler at News Now Toowoomba. You might have already noticed there's no intro graphics. I didn't say Rambler for News Now Toowoomba or Rambler reporting for News Now Toowoomba. So I'll cut straight to the chase, I'm leaving. And I'm really not happy about it, but I know it's the right thing. One reason not happy about it is that Australia needs this. We need, because our public servants and officials, if the Lady Salento hospital thing has anything to do with the mentality, it shows the mentality, the out and out fraud that was committed beyond the walls of Parliament, which I'll be following up on as a private citizen, under the Range Rambler guides or not, that's going to follow up on. But so we'll get to that. I've got a lot of rambling to do today, peeps. Hope you enjoy my photo from my walk yesterday. Our fair little city popping out between the trees of Queen's Park. My walk. So yeah, I did a video a few months back about how I was going to roll back, and I wasn't going to do the weekly, fortnightly, or even monthly videos anymore. Because pressures, it would just be every 3 to 6 months, hopefully 3 or 4 though. Yeah, and casual encounters, you see a police stop or a speed trap, film it, and that follow the leads of the actual stories that I do while filming and testing public photography rights and respect for that too, but mainly the accountability. Look, during that video, Wobbly Boost, who, and I'll see this, represent brother. G'day, and hope you're doing well. He'd said, "Oh no, you're not leaving, are you?" And I thought, what? That didn't even cross my mind. Since then, it's sort of been on the cards. That was the trigger for it, with lots of things, coincidences, and things that stood out. Yeah. I guess the prompting of the Holy Spirit as a Christian, I can just tweak that and use the bluntest language, because atheists will make fun anyway. That's what most atheists do. I was going to say all, but that's a generalization. Most. Some would say that's still unfair. I'd say all you need to do is go 51%. Come on, guys, you got it. So let's be blunt. Let's say God told me, or let's use the archaic term, Holy Ghost prompted me instead of, let's just let you guys cut to the chase and you're mocking. But which I love you guys. You guys keep it real, and especially for those people of faith, I think those who've believed because their parents believe in all that sort of, not fake faith, just never had their faith challenged. Do they even really believe? So yeah. And but the best, most fervent Christians I've run across were the hardcore atheists who are, now, because they're not going to believe for no reason. So respect out to the atheists, y'all. Got my gangster voice on this morning. Yeah, so I really feel for a long time now, with one thing after another, no such thing as coincidence, when there's more to it, as well as the whole answer to prayers, tying in with that as well, and the whole gut feeling split. Enough for those who know the Neo and ancient Greek, who are at Bible college right now. Yeah, so look, I know that I'm not meant to just not be involved. I just think if I keep doing this is for me. It's not going to have the same effect as if I follow the path I'm being prompted to. I don't know how that'll work out, but I think I will have more effect on justice in this world than I would doing public photography audits or public accountability audits. So yeah, guys, up my butt. Sorry, I'm not good at. Some people can just drive under any conditions and blah 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 blah. I'm a rambler, but man, something happens, I just go quiet. So you forgive the pauses. Where was I? Yeah, on past experience, when you let go of your will, which we have freely, but if you let go of it and follow the will that you know you've been prompted to go, you have more effect. It'll have more effect on justice this way. And the reason I'm saying justice rather than public accountability, public servant accountability justice, or social justice, and all those things, those terms shouldn't exist if justice is just justice. No, if justice prevails, there's no need for subheadings to let's go, you know, this is a different type of justice. It's like, no, if it's just, it's just. So, yeah. And we're talking about justice here, under the law. And this is under the law, let alone the justice where the laws are wrong. Which maybe that's where I'm meant to go up to that next level. Rather than say, hey, public servants, you're under the law too. Police, you don't have authority over someone unless the law gives it to you because they're breaking the law, so drop the attitude. That's it. Look, I'm only into this early on, and there's a lot of stuff I hadn't got on film in the last few years before I started. Queensland Police are the bomb. Like, at least in Toowoomba Station, let's not, because we don't want to talk about, people stomping on Doomadgee's head and stuff, you know. Okay, Toowoomba Police, generally, guys, Queensland Police from the Toowoomba, or even Darling Downs area, man, you guys are the bomb. And Ipswich, guys, I think you guys do criminal stuff in Ipswich. It's the Toowoomba, in Lockyer Valley, Ipswich cops do, general policing and crime in Lockyer, and it's Toowoomba traffic that does the traffic. Either way, look, Darling Downs, Lockyer Valley, Ipswich, Southwest Metro, and then regional and out to rural. For Toowoomba, you guys are the bomb in all my experiences with you. I haven't tested things as far as I'd like, but I think you fly with passing colours. And seeing the current culture generally around Australia, I don't know, people who follow Avi Yemeni, you know, that guy is just out there, you know, filming away, doing his thing. Police come around and say, you know, to electoral officers who think they have all this right for the footpath out in front, or outside this guy's house who was trying to dox him, so let's get his address and publish it, and someone will take care of him. So this is an academic, you know. Avi goes to his house and say, hey, I could do the same to you, I'm not gonna, but here I am, and he's all, stop filming, and the police are like, he's public. You know, police prompted that. So I just pull over and go on again. I just don't want the phone to lock because it's my third take. And driving seems to be the only time I get. But yeah, I don't know, there's that dude who gets pulled over a lot because he's got a motorcycle and has the beard and stuff, and believes he gets profiled, and from the videos from what I've seen, yeah, I think he does. But that cat, he seriously gets a lot of crap in Sydney, I find, in Sydney City itself. So Metro Police there seem to be, you can't film, and try and pull over all sorts of lies on him. And yeah, he's probably known to him, and maybe he's done something that means they don't respect him. But if he's not doing stuff there and then, like, geez, man, stop treating him like, you know, it's like, maybe he's, and like, this is a different scenario. I'd say this guy's pretty upstanding from what I can tell. But let's say there's someone, he gets profiled a lot and all, and he has done some pretty awful stuff. Like, I'm not saying the guy I'm talking about is at all, but it's just a scenario. Done this awful stuff. And then this guy gets pulled over when he's now on the straight and narrow and just constantly harassed and treated and lied to about his rights, and rights are breached, and like, this hatred of police grows in him. We're like, what's going to happen? I hope Sydney cops have got their game together down in New South Wales. I don't know about the rest of New South Wales. Let me know about your experiences, guys. I'm still going to check this. Yeah, so, I mean, I've got to trust the path I'm on. I've got to know that I'll do better at justice by following this. And also, once I started to consider accepting it, I wasn't going to, but I'm like, you know, it's God, and I've been here before, and it always works out better. I've noticed roadblocks with things I want to achieve in, sport, family, that sort of thing. I think that's all sorts of physical, fiscal, and ultimately spiritual. I don't like using that word. The ancients never had a spiritual, physical. It's just there was everything. But yeah, these blocks on the things that I want to achieve, and I'm thinking, oh, am I not meant to do them? And the more I thought about it and prayed about it and got answers, it's not that I'm not meant to do. It's just I'm really in the road of everything. Plus, I got to admit, auditing there's a little bit of ego there. That's why I want to do it. Some of us just don't grow up and want to continue to be like our heroes, like High Desert Community Watch in, I think he's Arizona, California maybe, California I think, in the US of A. But apart from all those guys in the US and the British guys, and there's probably great people across Europe, but I mean, only I search in English, so only English stuff comes up, and I don't know if I've watched stuff I wouldn't understand anyway. I know a bit of Spanish, maybe enough French to watch something too, but that's about it. German, sorry ancestors, but German, that's just sounds like gobbledygook to me. Yeah, so there's ego, there's also that my plate's pretty full. I got lots on. I'm trying to provide for a family. I've been casual for work for a while now. I've got 5 kids. All of them have their own interests and needs, and I've got my own sport as well, which this year's meant to be a big year in achieving. I'm not getting any younger. I'm at the higher end of professional side of it. I don't know if I'm going to fight professionally, but I want to have a good year and just win some amateur titles, and also climb ranks, get qualified to teach and all that. And, I mean, it's hard to make a career in unless you're in the big leagues for sport of any kind, but yeah, that's where I is at. So, I've come to realise that my plate is like 95 to 98% full. That's not much wriggle room. When you've got kids, you just need that person to be present, not just getting them through the motions of the day. And I'm a very hands-on parent. My wife works different hours to me. But yeah, just get them through the motions of the day is not... They need that present parent, and I'm just not that. That's huge. Like, they need that. And I'm failing there. So all these things are, it's prompted by God, and for those who aren't, I use the word religious, not that I like to use it. That's comes with strict religious law, legal ramifications in my mind. It's like what do they call it, Sharia or Jewish law, or what's the Catholic one, papal law or canon law, or, it's more about relationship with God. We're relational beings created in the image of our Creator, so it's all about relationship. So, yeah. Sorry, where's it going? This is people not of a religious, faith-based background. I'm going to mock it, and all bear with me. Oh, I totally forgot where I was going. See, Range Rambler rambles himself into a ridiculous ramble. There's a lady exercising on the footpath. She's got a whole big Queen's Park there. But she's on the footpath next to the road. Funny what you see. Sorry, I'm not filming now, guys. Actually, I'm going to park undercover today if I can, because I had a very vivid dream it was going to hail today. So, God willing, I'll get a park there. Very vivid, and I never even remember my dreams. Look, I'll stay on the religiousness first of all, because that's usually where you hear things like alcohol is a sin. Let's stay on that. I'll use this as an example. Since I forgot where I was going and I've started rambling about religion. I think culturally, the only culture, subculture, etc. is religious groups who say alcohol is a sin. I'm gonna, I'm not qualified to comment on Islam and stuff. You know, I can talk about it as an ideology being pushed on the public. It was Jonathan Porter or whatever, a British guy, says that doesn't make you a Nazi to say there's dodgy bits about Islam. We're all free, you know. He's this left-wing guy, British. He did this great rant about why we've got Trump, and very left-wing, but basically blame the insanity and lack of rational of the far left. And then he did another one recently, we've reached peak Nazi, and just pointing out what imbeciles these ones who aren't Nazi are, you know. He's talking about things he doesn't necessarily agree with, but he said, look, if you want reduced immigration, it doesn't make you a Nazi. If you want to say there's a few dodgy bits we don't like about Islam, that doesn't make you a Nazi. But this, you know, it's a quadrant. This top right-hand corner, the left authoritarian, not left libertarian, which actually, every time I do a survey I fall into, I always figure on the right side a bit, but I'm actually left-leaning according to the surveys. I don't know how they work. Sorry, just parking. Yeah, but anyone not in that top right corner is just a Nazi because they disagree. And he's just like, you know what a Nazi is? Someone who believes in the supremacy of the Aryan race. Someone who believes in the rounding up of Jehovah's Witnesses, homosexuals, Jews, for execution, blah, blah, blah. You know, that's a Nazi. We are not that racist anymore, people. You just, yeah. Shutting down them using it as an argument. But yeah, sorry, you hear in religious stuff that's, man, I deserve the name Range Rambler. I'm awesome. You hear some say alcohol's a sin. I mean, if you look at the Judeo-Christian faith, scriptures, yeah. It's not, I mean, Christianity isn't a list of rules as such. You know, we go by the 10 Commandments, but it's that fulfillment of relationship with God where grace is shown. You know, you forgive your kid, we're his children, he forgives us, and just do your best and try and have a relationship with him. If you get that, you get the prompting, and you know, the law will be written on the hearts of those who follow him, which it says in the Old Testament, which is prophecy about Christianity. The Tanakh. So, yeah, but even as far as rules go, if you go back to the Tanakh, the Old Testament Jewish law, alcohol is, in its excess, it's worded as a sin. It's also deemed a recommendation for reduce of stress, social cohesion. It's got all its wonderful benefits, you know, so. But if someone has an alcohol problem, obviously they're only going to drink in the excess. And, yeah, so let's make sure I'm in the lines while I sit here. Just don't want to be sticking out and cop hail in the windscreen either. You know, that's a sin. So it's things are more grey than people realise, especially in religion. From what I've seen of Islam, there's a lot of let's just say grey. I don't want to say contradiction, but there's let's not go there. But there's a lot more grey than people realise, even in the strict rules. Mainly if man gets involved, the waters are going to get very murky if you start canonising things and changing with the times and this, that and the other. You're best off looking at its original context, strip away the historical and language barriers and go with the transliteral translation, find out what it's actually saying about the situation and the people involved and how does that apply today, rather than, no, we'll make this black and white from the Iron Age, forget that we have this technology now and we interact this way now, and forget all that. Or the alternative is let's just, whatever society thinks is awesome, let's just go with it, which doesn't affect Christianity as much. Some of the old Orthodox, be it Western or Catholic as we call it, or Eastern Orthodox churches, it doesn't even there affect as much, because Christianity's always been applied to a culture, not overridden, as much as people would like to go with the whole white saviour narrative, blah, 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 blah. I mean, just the gospel and sharing it's been important. And I think colonialism changed Christianity to be that. But once we got rid of colonialism, or at least Europe has, and Arabs still do it, go all over the Middle East and give themselves localized names like Syrian, and push out the Assyrians, or Egyptian, and push out the Copts, who are the descendants of ancient Egypt, or Palestinian, as if they're from there, even though they're Arab from Arabia, and push out the Jews. It's actually, during the Mandate, you had Palestinian Arabs and Palestinian Jews. Jews obviously just went with Israeli once they established a Jewish state. So, where else? In Phoenicia, they went with Lebanese, even though they're Arabs, pushing the Phoenicians. The Kurds have been pushed back. They go with Iraqi, even though they're Arabs, and pushing the Chaldeans back. The Persians won't stand for it. Iran is saying, stuff you Arabs. And they're very strong Shia faith, prevents the use of religion, a bit like colonial Christianity. I'm doing quotation marks with my fingers here. The strong Shia faith prevents the Arabs using religion as a takeover tool as well. Good on them. Yeah, the Jews and the Persians are not, the others have been pushed around. The Samaritans, all these races that are pushed to the brink of extinction, or extinction in their local countries, are all fleed because the Arabs have just come in force. Yeah, and that colonisation is still going on today, and we ignore it because it's racist to talk about. I mean, this goes back to what I don't know why I've got Porter in my head. I've got a mate, Jonathan Porter. But you guys will know who I'm talking about. Swears his head off, left wing, but just has no time for theological and wants society to engage civilly. But he's a funny guy and British. You guys will know who I'm talking about. Yeah, please post it if you are. But, you're not allowed to talk about things like that. It's like, man, this is colonisation going on. We're not allowed to talk about it. And it doesn't matter. And they try and silence you, like, oh, you're white, you can't talk about it. You've colonised. Like, I haven't colonised anything. I was born into this world. But then even if it's an Arab, like I know Imam Tawhili and Fasai, what's his name in the US? Atheist guy. I mean, he gets a lot of death threats because he used to be Islamic. They say things. It's like, oh, you're, I don't know, what do they call them? They go from everything from the name of the Jews who fed information to Hitler, or Uncle Tom equivalents and all that rubbish. And it's like, no one is allowed to say anything when atrocities are happening. It's like, if you don't see colour, can we just talk about what's actually happening, But I think the real racists are the left, who categorise everything into tribalism to shut them up. But the far left, far authoritarian left. Let me specify that, because, again, according to the thing, I'm left-leaning. Yeah. Wow, didn't I go off on a tangent there? Range Rambler. Oh, what's the time? When do I have to start work? So, yeah, back to the alcohol. Look, basically, it's not... if you go by strict religious stuff, which I don't think faith's about, it's always about relationship with God, and that should prompt you anyway. But if you go by strict religious stuff, no, alcohol is not a sin. As far as a Judaic-Christian worldview and relational view with God. That said, if you're an alcoholic, it is. So it's all personalised. And for me, public accountability, auditing, and public photography auditing and stuff, I think I thrive a bit on the confrontation, which I haven't had much of, but I can just feel it, this desire for it. It's like you can tell it's an addiction. Like I've had small tastes, unfortunately off camera mostly, because I'm just getting started with this, but it's like, man, that's the aggression I need to just save for my sport, because it's just hanging around all the time. I'm just always ready with the camera, filming, just ready. And then it makes me more reactive to the kids than I should be. I get loud very quickly. I'm always on edge. So wanting that fix of, interaction. So one reason why if I'm involved in justice, shouldn't be doing this. And the other is, as I said, ego. So, I mean, I'm sort of like, why God, Australia needs this, you know, we need this to become huge in Australia. You know, before this country, as it is, was founded, let's not go on my opinions on the legalities of that, because I don't think it, till there's about 200 odd treaties. I don't know how legal this thing is, but we work with this. Everyone should work together with the system we got and engage freely, without anyone being labelled anything to shut them up, with point of views tested by rational logic and credibility, starting at a what's the word? Starting at a civil starting point. It's not the word I'm thinking of, because humanists have hijacked the word to mean something it's not. They think any debate should exclude religious people, when the word I'm thinking of actually means, no, you just have a rational test of logic with the application of accepted science. We live in a something society. Holy crap, I've lost a word. The Rambler has lost a word. Far out, man. I wanted this to go smoothly and just get it done before work. And part of me is like, move on. The rest is like, keep talking. I'll come back to it. Church and state, separation of church and state. It comes along those lines, which that was actually to protect the church, by the way, from the Romans. People think you got to exclude it for it to work. Religious people are allowed to play by the same rules. Their worldview might be different, but, you know, if I go into a parliament and say, God told me this, that's what we're doing, that's ridiculous. I can't do that. We live in a civil society. It's not civil. Oh my goodness, it's going to bug me, because humanists have hijacked it. And I keep going to say humanist society. We don't live in a humanist society. That's the far left authoritarians anyway. You can't be involved in this because you're religious. Like, I didn't say anything religious. I'm just talking about the facts. A lot of Christians out there can... yeah. Why is that word missing? Okay, let's move on. So yeah, they're my reasons. Look, I was going to follow up with amazing follow-ups, which some of them I'm going to do as a not reporting thing, although the outcomes, if I'm dissatisfied, might go to the media. I was sort of thinking, God, why don't I just keep this station on for when I get outcomes, and just the odd bit of filming. Like, I was going to do that video every 3 to 6 months. But I really feel the answer is definitely not. You got to cut the cord. And since I've decided to comply with that, the barriers that I'm experiencing elsewhere are just lifting like crazy. So, yeah, I think watch those who are local. Watch things like the Chronicle or local things. I'll write in if I'm dissatisfied with my responses. Those who want to do it themselves, feel free to take on these, even if I'm doing as a private citizen. You can contact me saying, hey, do you ever find anything about such and such and such? Because I'm doing the story, and I'll be out there filming, confronting public accountability while doing photography, rights accountability, which I just do as something along the way, which hasn't really blown up. As I said, Queensland Police are pretty good. I'm sure if I did a few follow-ups with the university, which I planned it would. Look, if you want to do that in your local, do it. And I'll give you this channel. I'll give you the graphics. I'll give you everything. Please. Till then, I'll probably tie in with someone else reasonably local, like Southeast Queensland, Greater Brisbane. Hopefully I can link. Hopefully someone's doing something locally. Wobbly Boost said a few months ago I'm like the only one on the East Coast, was it? Or Northern Australia? I think it's Northern Australia. So, yeah, that sucks if that's the case. We really need this, and that's why I'm frustrated, but I've just got to trust in God and trust that my contribution to justice will be better somewhere else, and it will be. I'll do better. And I think I'm just going to throw portions of my life away if I don't. I'm at 95% with my capacity. I need to get that down to 60 so I can just be present and successful in the other aspects. Providing for my family, getting out of this casual loop of not having money when there's no work, and being a present father, and achieving in sport, and building that into possibly a career. It's possible, combined with sports gear, maybe an Amazon store. I don't know. I got lots on my plate, let alone each individual need of the kids and my wife's health. And look, it all adds up. I've got to go. So I'm signing out in a sec. What's the bloody time? Look, the other thing too is, if you are following up, look, this is where I'm going. And some of these, as I said, I am going to write to Her Majesty, the Queen. And I say Her Majesty with full acknowledgement of the local nobility and royalty, that being the Jawa and Guyable people and their elders past, present, future, as a higher authority, because legality-wise, she has no claim to this land. But we've got the system we got. She's the highest servant of the people. Not a public servant, because I guess she's head of the administration officially. I'll start with the governor, but I think I'll be dissatisfied with the governor. But yeah, I think just the fraud that was committed beyond the walls of parliaments with Lady Salento, the lies of parliamentary privilege is breached because they did it outside. I think that government needs to be sacked. And my whole philosophy is that the government works for us, for the people, by the people, of the people. And we come under their laws and authorities if we break it. Other than that, they just overreach constantly. And this is the worst example where it's actually fraud. And they work for us. They've got their 3-4 yearly review, I think 4-yearly review in Queensland, like lining up the rest of the states now. States of Australia, I mean. The states can be, you know what I mean. So, they work for us. They have their 4 yearly reviews, but it's not enough. They've manipulated that system, stacked it in their favour. If you've ever worked as a public servant, it's always stacked in the government's favour, never the public servant or the people or whatever. And even their own reviews, they manipulate the system with all their rules for campaigning and stuff. It's time to say no. It's time to say you work for us. And quite frankly, I think this is a serious enough offence that we need to go to that office which serves us the highest in this system. So I say Her Majesty out of respect for being Queen of the system. Don't necessarily think her legitimacy as Queen of Australia is there. But that's personal opinions. Let's throw that out the window because other people think differently. And we're all free for these opinions and free to voice them without being called Nazis or white supremacists, which I got called when I'm online about genocides all over the world all the time. They stand out and they're not reported. And the one time I report on one genocide, or at least systemic one that's been formulated, it's about to be carried out, but in South Africa, and it happens to be white farmers. Oh, you sound like a white supremacist. Like, you do ignore every other thing I talk about. Man, Southern Sudan was my big thing. I ran all sorts of campaigns, threw thousands of my own money into. Anyway, it's just, and they call me a white supremacist. I'm just, frick you. If you don't see colour and you're not racist, you're a white supremacist. I don't know how that works. I really hate the authoritative left. I really hate them. Could you imagine if they got in power? But this democracy, the revolution happened before this country was formed. Let's not lose those rights, especially the people like I'm talking about who would like us to go back to, under Marxism, back to a dictatorship rule where you see people. I remember Avi Yemeni interviewing a lady, like, what about South Africa? Like, you're processing these refugees, why can't we take the white South Africans as well? Oh, didn't you see what they did to South Africa? They did this. I'm like, first of all, I'm thinking, are you Aboriginal, lady? Like, that's saying you did it, even though you didn't. You're white. That's like saying we can pass a law that every Aboriginal person, so for equality, can come and take everything you've worked hard for. Would you agree with it then? So racism's racism, and to apply racism to try and wrong sins of people in the past, don't care what colour it is, it's barbaric. Man, if you did that to Arabia, man, the minorities would return in flocks and there'd be an Arab slaughter from one end to the other. With the current colonisation that is clearly happening across Arabia. Started before white colonisation, still continues today, which it's just ignored because it's quote-unquote racist. I mean, I swear, if aliens landed on the Earth, Arabs would push to the front of the line and say, hey, this whole planet, we're the indigenous, the rest are evil occupiers. You know, it's not about Islam or whatever, it's just Arab dominance. Now, I've got to head into work. Look, I'll do a part 2 of this because I like it, even though I've rambled. Secular, I feel that word, secular society, because it gets hijacked by humanists, but it actually just means everyone's involved as long as you start on a completely non-religious starting point for debate and apply logic, reason and accepted science. The accepted science is a bit crazy because it's a bit like everyone buys their own opinions now, but mainly the first one's secular society. That's what it means. Humanists think it means something else. They think it means ban anyone of a religious background from participating in the process, which is very undemocratic. Yeah, so I'll keep talking for a bit as I head in. But look, I was going to do a follow-up out at Greenmounts. Apart from that no sport I mentioned that had a private business there, I'm probably going to inquire and or film follow-up, like how do you get your private business advertised there. I did point out at the time I was pretty sure it was a fruit delivery. It's far enough out, it actually gets considered rural. And if it's the only fresh fruit and veg delivery for a town that doesn't have its own shops, albeit it is 5 minutes from the shop at Clifton. The post office stocks some stuff, not fruit and veggie. 5 minutes to Nobby, 10 minutes to Clifton, 15 minutes to Drayton, which is in the Toowoomba city limits. So, yeah, I don't know how. It's considered rural, but that's because it's distance to Brisbane, not distance to Toowoomba. But, yeah, failing that, it's like, well, why can't every business just put things there? Just that small level of accountability. What else is there? There's follow-up with USQ. Those jerks didn't even respond to me about the agricultural college, neither. Well, the Australian government portion did and just said, hey, we heard you're interested. Would you like our PDF of our great stuff? It's like, no. Anyway, flick to the end and watch that. That's funny. That's the Baker Street one. Look, I'm going to get in and start work. I'll do part 2 of this later. Hey! Part 2. Cut short because I had to go to work. You work when you get the work sometimes. And I've got work at the moment, so that's good. But yep, all wrapped up. Yeah, so, I mean, I was saying that if someone wants to take it over, just contact me, you can have the stuff. Meanwhile, I'll have links to other places, but, you know, I'll keep obviously the page open on YouTube and the Facebook page, etc. For anyone, anywhere, even if you're visiting and you want to follow up, as I started saying, there's, you know, businesses displayed on any government notice boards. Just with the private contact details, how you go about applying for that, what's the criteria, the measurement test, the fairness test, the whole government promoting private sector. But again, that might be nothing as far as the Greenmount case goes. It was something I was going to look into. Greenmount wise though, what pulled me out there to go back out there was the Violet Brodie Park. Now, this is one of the ones I'm going to write to council about and seek this as a private citizen and probably voice concerns. Won't be through this channel at all. It's a cold turkey thing for the reasons I've said before. As silly as it sounds, as silly as I think it might sound. Yeah, yeah. Sorry, where was I? Oh, I'm tired after work. Brain's dead, rambling. But yeah, it's this park. It's signed. It's signed with a little tag that says set up as part of the Rural Communities Development Fund by the Queensland Government in conjunction with the Cambodia Shire Council, now known as the Cambodia District, within Toowoomba Regional Council area. There's many signs like that for, I think, their community bore there, and a couple other parks with playgrounds, that sort of thing. Man, isn't this a nice street? It'd be good if we could all live in East Toowoomba. Check this out. Freaking beautiful. Yeah, so it's got that there, but it's closed off, and I think a year or so ago there was a metal gate there, but it was always locked. And each segment of the park, where it's at least for all portions showing as gazetted on the maps, is fenced off in line with the neighbouring properties, who all have horses, who all have gates for their horses to be out there during the day, and during the night the horses go in. But the gate disappeared probably, I've been told, about 6 months ago. There is a makeshift gate at the top that gets you in, but only to the first allotment that lines up with the first house. Again, and all these houses have horses, who the horses are there during the day and then they're locked up at night. So they've got their own personal horse yard. I mean, was it set up as a equestrian park? If it is, why is it not open to other horse owners? And why is it not open, like, so you can access the whole thing rather than each little allotment lying up? So is it something untoward, like Friend and Council setting them up and closing this off and pretending it doesn't happen, even though the big ugly sign's still there? You know, is there that kind of, you know, people are all related in the small towns, you know, is it back scratching and unfair corruption going on? Is it just purely it's been forgotten and, you know, the fencing looks pretty makeshift? I mean, most does in rural anyway, but is it a case of, I don't know, just it's been pretty forgotten and they've just slowly put these things up and gotten away with it till now, and council hasn't really followed up? I find it a bit hard to believe. From what they say, their council's pretty astute to jump on things, be it fines for unregistered animals and all sorts. So I would love to look into that. I mean, I am going to look into that as a private citizen. That's going to be one of the ones. So keep your eye on local media, local people, or if you are an auditor, please check it out, go there, and once you check out the legalities of it, hasn't been sold, find out why the sign's not torn down, or if it has, if it is, remains parkland and it's just been forgotten about, then yeah, definitely jump on into the property and film till you confront it. That's what I was going to do, whatever you want to do. Police can't move you, it's a public property, you're doing a story, you're there with purpose. And people are going to be very much realising they can't just take council parkland that belongs to everyone just for themselves, even if it's an equine park, because people not adjacent to the property cannot use it. So there was that. I think that covers the Greenmount. Then there's USQ, as I started on before I had to go. So the USQ with Baker Street, as I said, the response was received from pretty much all parties. It was a ridiculous joke fob off, treated with disdain by the Australian Government Department, which you can see that there. Albeit the first person who probably forwarded the correspondence was probably a good egg, you know, and then someone thought, oh, we better do something, and then the insult began. USQ did nothing, which is just a great insult, didn't reply, didn't take it seriously. Look, at the end of the day, the report can continue on very quickly, very easily, with a request, freedom of information request of the MSDS, and that's not going to be something they can railroad and legal talk out of. They've got to have that document under the law, quick and easy and accessible. So even if they charge a fee, it can't be much. So there's that there. Even TransLink responded, and TransLink responded. I don't know if I mentioned it before it cut out, but they responded with basic, information: who's responsible for this, that, and the other, whether it's council or the private businesses or education facilities. But just saying it doesn't come under our responsibility, which basic sort of statement. But they took the time to respond and took the request seriously. Hope you're enjoying Queen's Park like I am, by the way. This is quite amazing. Didn't expect it to look this good this time of year. It's only in here the other day, it didn't feel this good. Probably because it was so hot. yeah, so there's that. Be interesting to get a hold of that data and go to, say, the childcare on Baker Street's kindy board and whatever they are. There is a board, I believe, who run it, and see what they think. What happened? Was there consultation? Was there agreement? Was there assurances? What were they? Yeah. So probably not one I will be pursuing with so many other things on. As far as council goes, there is the Toowoomba Regional Council flag. Just, I don't know, the councils, a lot of them hold on to these things intensely. You know, it's all closely copyrighted, no permission to use, this, that and the other. And I thought, you know, Australia got over this in 1953 with the Australian National Flag Act. But no. So, you know, would council be willing to let businesses use it in the same way the Australian Government Flag Act lets some people use the Australian flag, you know, unless they can't copyright their logos and stuff if it's in there. But would they be willing to do that, or is it just council's flag? It's not really for the people, and you know, they're going to hold on to copyright, not let people to share it and use it, etc. Why is it so controlled? Including the historical Toowoomba City flag, for that matter, and any others. I don't. Rosalie had a coat of arms, so Rosalie district may have, as much as they want us to call it Gumbunju district, I refuse. A bit like Lang Park or Athletic Oval. But yeah, perhaps, who knows, they might just go ahead with that. What else is there? Just gotta find a chair to look at, sit down in. Yeah, flags and, sorry, cover the flags. That is one I'll follow up as a private citizen again, not in a news capacity, because I'm still a private citizen as that goes. I'm not a public servant in a news capacity, but follow that. To be honest, I'm going to push it in local mainstream media and come up with a reddish ensign, I don't know how to say it. A bit like the Merchant Navy flag was used on land and Australian waters as well as a flag of the people when they weren't allowed to use the Australian national flag. Well, it might have just been called Blue Ensign then, which was just for government use only. So maybe I'll push for that, even design one, fly it myself, all that sort of thing. Have a little laugh, enjoy it, but I can't do it through this channel for reasons I've said before. What else? I think that covers the stuff off the top of my head. Apart from speed traps, totally hate them. We've got a lot of good hard-working cops who can stop speeders in their tracks, still give them the ticket. People are like, the cop's there and they'll just stop them, and what's the point? You know, the only thing that hurts is for money. Still give them the fine then. But at least they're stopping, not getting the "you're naughty" letter and fine a week later in the mail. Meanwhile, they've sped halfway through the countryside, nearly killed how many people, if not worse. So, you know, I like to film the speed traps and just say, this is crap. Let's get the hard-working cops that we've got back out there and make a difference. All that jazz. You know, it's about, people say it's not about revenue raising, it's the money hits hardest. You still get the fines. It may not be as fast, but the cops will stop people. If it's really about safety over revenue raising, prove it, you know. Cop stops as well, although again I found Toowoomba and District Police, as well as to some extent Lockyer and Ipswich, yeah, pretty good. I keep thinking in the back of my mind there's something else. I keep remembering secular society. Man, I had a brain fart this morning. Yeah, I honestly think that's about it. So with this, I bid you cheerio. I really don't want to do this. The more I talk about the things I was going to do that you all can do, you can contact me if you're local and take over branding and the website stuff. Not really websites themselves, but oh yeah, sites within pages. It's a Facebook page and a YouTube page, really, whatever they want to call it, but that's what it is. Yeah. I honestly think that's about it. Oh, USQ. One more with USQ. Yeah, they were going to... USQ was going to... Well, they did. Before the plebiscite was tabled and all that for gay marriage, just in support of LGBTQIA people and their students and staff. They had the rainbow pride flag up, which, whatever your opinion on that is, doesn't really matter. I'm focused on the freedom and the implications of that, because they've only ever displayed national flags, and flag protocol is huge. I mean, going back to what I said about the Toowoomba regional stuff, look, because I noticed the red ensign is making a comeback, because technically with the flag, the Australian flag itself, while it's available for people to use, there are strict rules. I mentioned one about the copyright businesses. It's probably a bit more freedom than a lot of other countries with the flag, maybe not as many as the US. But, you know, if, let's say I wanted to, again, another topic people are going to be divided on, again, it doesn't really matter, it's just an example. So, but if you wanted to raise the Nauru flag higher or in a more position of honour than the Australian flag as a tribute to those who are on Nauru, as detained until they can get their visa applications processed. So that will basically, you want to do that. You know, the flag doesn't represent them, it represents people on Nauru. It's a terrible example. It's not a way I would process it if I felt I needed to. But let's just say that's it. You want to do that as an expression of freedom of speech. Look, that technically, I don't know what agency or whatever, they could, because of breaching the rules of the National Flag Act of 1953, could interfere physically even, I believe. So that's definitely a consideration. He's gone. So, yeah, please consider that, because the Australian government, yeah, has that power still, even though the flag is there forever and the rules are quite strict. Sorry, just not wanting to film people in public, which, yeah, I have a right to do, blah, 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 blah. I'd never be one of those orders. I think I'd love to be like High Desert Community Watch. Anyway, I'll never be an auditor. Maybe one day, maybe I'm meant to be called back to it, but I'm meant to do other things in the meantime. I digress. Where was I going with this flag? Because I'm thinking back to Toowoomba Council. Oh, USQ, the flag, you know, it's a huge thing to wait amongst all the national flags to put up a flag that represents, some could argue political agenda, some could argue subclass, subculture. I would agree both correct, so people on both sides can be happy with me, but I would actually not trying to keep everyone happy, otherwise I wouldn't be so keen about all this stuff, because, but generally I would say both is correct. Depends what it's flown for, reasons why, the timing, everything has something to do with it. But that goes to the very issue of it. Right now in the world, for the last many, many years, it's funny, this ties in with the colonisation by the Arabian peoples. Obviously not all, and all that generalisation stuff. Go shout out Nazi, you authoritarian leftists, if you must, but you know, just stating the facts. Facts don't care about your feelings, and don't try and enforce your feelings over people's rights. Where was I? Range Rambler. Yeah, I mean, the most persecuted minority in the world, through degree of persecution and sheer numbers, is Christians. We're talking mainly Eastern Orthodox, Russian Orthodox, Coptic Orthodox, did I say Asian Orthodox? All the Eastern Orthodox churches, which, you know, the West really only has one the Western Orthodox is the Roman Catholic Church, really. But the East has several branches, although they do come together in a communion, a bit like what you, I guess, call ecumenicalism in the West. But the Protestant Catholic thing's a bit more of a divide than what they experience. Theirs is more just geographical management and first among equals sort of things, rather than sheer tyrannical hierarchy, like the Pope as the head, like the Caesar of Rome and the Roman Empire, which they adopted from the fact they're based in Rome. That's sort of what they adopted. Where the heck was I going with this? The flag, the rainbow flag. I have no idea how I got into Rome and stuff. Oh, well, sorry, yes. Persecution of, the most of those native indigenous peoples of the lands I mentioned, not with the fake names that sound like they could be native, but the actual natives, with the exception of most Persians who are Shia Muslim, Jews who are obviously predominantly Jewish, or at least nominally so. Most of those other minorities, Kurds is another exception, but all those others, Chaldeans, Assyrians, Phoenicians, Copts, the ancestors of the ancient Egyptians, all of them, most of them are Christian, and they're almost in their own country extinct. Christianity in the Middle East, where it's from, particularly through the Levant, as the Muslim would call it, or the Holy Land, as a Christian or Jew would call it. Syrian Christians are some of the oldest in the world, hundreds of years before Islam. The Assyrian Christians church is extinct, basically, in its own country. You've had Nineveh, one of the oldest churches in the world, pushed out by IS. Nineveh is probably one of the oldest Christian communities on the planet. It's just, So, why would the USQ not fly that if you brought them to them? So can you fly this in support? You've got students from these countries, students from these races where they can't return. Would you support them in the same way? What's the criteria? And it all comes back to that local government notice board advertising business. It's like, you're going to open the kettle of fish, you've got to have fair rules. Or is it just because of flavour of the month, elitist academia politics? And that's what we're looking to call them out on. Hopefully that's not what they're doing, and it's like, okay, well, here's the criteria, here's how you apply. I doubt it. I'd say that it very much is what I said it is, but you wouldn't know until you investigate it. And to be honest, it still may be one I'll follow up personally. So watch local media if I'm dissatisfied with the response, but I can't do this anymore. As much as it frustrates and hurts. So anyway, I'm signing out now. It's not an emotional sign out because this isn't even really a report, sort of just, well, I'm signing out reasons why, what's left if you want the scraps, or things to think about, or even things for the parties involved I mentioned to respond now. Save the hassle if you're watching this, so that'd be good. Yeah. Alright, well, it is a close of a very recently opened chapter. But I do wish you all the best. I'm going to go to my car. And, yeah, hope you guys, wish you all the best. God bless, guys.